right, it's Friday. I'm heading into the office right now. It's gorgeous out. It's about 40 degrees. Yesterday was rainy and cloudy, and today is sunny and beautiful in January, so that's exciting. I'll be inside with no windows all day, so it doesn't really matter. I've been on a little bit of an espresso kick lately. I bought myself an espresso machine for Christmas. I'm loving it. I still have no idea how to use it correctly. And every shot of espresso that I pull tastes completely different. But we're going to get there. You guys can help me. If you have tips on espresso, I'll take them. When we get in today, I got to get all the information for the event dates over to the town. Me and Maddie finalized those yesterday. We're going to be ordering jackets for the Order of the Holy Black. I got to get that pinball machine put back together. I just moved into a new apartment, and my pinball machine does not fit in my new place. I can't find anywhere to put it, so I brought it to the shop. We're going to put it in the clubhouse. I got to get that back together. Maybe Rick can help me out with it. And I guess we'll see where the day goes. I haven't really looked at my schedule yet, so I'll keep you guys updated when we get there. All right, so I just came out of my office to see what I need to do to get this together. This is really a two-man job, getting the legs back on this thing and getting the top box mounted. You can see this is an old electromechanical machine, like a 1970s Williams Aztec. It was in my little apartment. But I just realized I left my my legs at home. I left the legs for it at my apartment. So that's not happening today. But we got plenty of other stuff to do. All right, I'm just taking a little lunch break. I'm running over to Staples. I need a new notebook. I need some pens. I need a few things so I can go back and set up my bullet journal. I've been bullet journaling for I think it's 3 years now. And I find it's the only thing, I've tried software packages and all sorts of different ways to get organized and keep track of all the different aspects of life. And I find that bullet journaling is the number one, the only thing that keeps me focused on what I need to get done. And I don't know, pencil and paper just seems to be the best solution for me. So I'll go grab it, and then I'll show you guys how we set it up. All right, I got my new book, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to put in it and what I want to use. So I actually have one of my older bullet journals here. This is August 2019 to December 2020. This is one of the first ones I did, and it has a lot of stuff that I did like and some stuff that I wasn't really into. So I'll go through it. I'll show you exactly how I like to set it up. I'm not really into super flowery. I keep everything pretty much black and white. Generally, I put my name, and if it's lost, I put my email address so people can get in touch with me, or you could even put a phone number in there. I usually put a little date, and then up in this top right corner, I usually put the number of dots across the top is 37, and 48 dots down. That tells me where the center of the page is. So I can say, okay, there's a little line right here and a line right here, you could see, and that line actually goes all the way down the edges of the book, so that when I'm making a spread, I can automatically know where the centers are and I can draw perfect lines. I usually always carry a ruler with me in the back of the book, so I can draw nice straight lines on everything. Over here, this is my index. I always leave a few pages blank for index, so that as I put stuff in the book, I can say, okay, page 1 is my title, page 2 to 5 is index, page 6 is the key. And as I add stuff, I can actually skip to anywhere in the book, and I can put something in there like a spread, and I can put it in here so I know exactly where it is and what page it's on. I try to go in order so that I can keep everything in order. but there can be like, I'll show you how it goes, because you end up with daily spreads that you don't need to list in here, but important things you can have here so I can easily look it up. Like in here, I actually have this wholesale back-end brain dump on page 23. I can say, okay, let's go to page 23. And the first thing I do when I get one of these is I number all of the pages in the corner by hand. It's kind of silly, but they should come with numbers. But here's my wholesale back-end brain dump. This is when I was building the back-end for my wholesale, for my website. And this is all the things that could possibly be issues. Here's the app interaction, that all different apps I'd be using to make it happen and how they would interact with each other. A flow chart on how it would work. Possible solution apps that existed already that I could use, different focus points and notes that I would need. And then that was just how I kind of brain dumped and worked out that particular problem. So some of the stuff I like to put in the beginning after the index, the first thing I do is a key. And this has changed in the last couple of years how I use this, but when I do my daily spreads, I mark my tasks with a dot, and when I complete them, I draw an X through the dot. And this all comes directly from bullet journals, and this is really the basis of how it all works. When you don't finish a task that day, you put this little arrow and you migrate the task to the next day and you bring it over. I use a circle for events, a line for notes, and then if it's something that's on my to-do list over and over and I keep migrating it, then I will put this little caret on it facing the other way, and I'll schedule it for a very specific date. And that's kind of a high priority issue. It has to be done by that date. It's like putting it on a deadline, because it just keeps getting put to the back. These are high priority items. These are just items of inspiration, and these are things I want to go and look up later and get more information on. Here's something that I normally do now, but I didn't use it in this book, was I like to put together like a plan for the year and what I want to do for the year and like my goals. But this book I started in August, so I never actually got back to filling this out. This is my daily habit tracker. So I write all my different habits down here that I want to track, and then I have, a 30-day tracker, and this was for August. So these are all the things that I did. These are the things I didn't do. These are the things I would leave on there. And then this is September. This is my September habit tracker. I just drew it differently in a circle shape. And, like I said, I was getting a little crazy with the templates and drawing, and I found that that's a little I can't really keep up with stuff like this. So it's easier for me to keep everything really simple. This is my fitness tracker, my weight, how much I was lifting, and my records and stuff like this. This is my reading list of book ideas that I want to read and what I did read from halfway through. Some of them I finished, some of them I didn't. Nowadays, my reading list, ever since I got into audiobooks, my reading list is much longer than this. These are my wish lists and gift ideas. These are things I want to buy for myself or that I want. These are ideas for other people. If I think of ideas I want to buy for someone, this is something that I use a lot more nowadays than I did back then, but this has been carried over. Same thing with this, my apocalypse. This is like my what do they call it? Like my death list, my bucket list items, places I want to travel, bucket list things I want to do, things I've done. This has become larger, and also I've checked a lot of stuff off on here. Milestone log. I didn't really use it again. This was one of my first bullet journals, and I was just kind of finding what I liked. So this was like when I hit milestones in my life that I wanted to remember, I'd put them here. This was a dream log that I never use. I'm just getting more into dream logging again now. So we'll see if that's something that I might bring that back in my new box. And then this is my calendar for August. So these were things I had to do in August. This is some stuff and then this was August 1st. You see, this is my daily schedule. I fill this out when I come in the morning. This is my to-do list and things I want to get done. These are daily tasks that I want to do every single day, and then some notes. And I would do this every day just to kind of break my day out and see where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be up to. And this was something that would be ongoing. And throughout there, I would come up with other ideas. Like this is a spread on automating, sending out special boxes out to barbershops. And you can see in my index, that'll be listed here. Reading list, bucket list, milestone, begin August. Let's see, barber box automation plan, page 21. So I can always go back to this. There's actually a couple things in this book that I still refer back to. Here's that wholesale back end brain dump again. Here was an EDC, everyday carry, like disaster prep master list that I built. So things I would want to carry in my pocket, things I would want to carry in a waist pack, things for a backpack, things for my vehicle, things for a bug out bag. You know, just anything I could think of that I want to kind of work out in my head and figure out. Like, this was my limited edition release. I use this still to this day. That's why I have this book on my list. And every single one of my journals going forward actually has a link to my December. In its index, it'll say like an outside appendix. It'll say August 29th to December 2020 book, page 32. And now whenever I do a limited edition release, I make sure that I do all these things on this list, because if I forget one, there'll be a disaster. So I'll pull this book out, and I know exactly from my new book which actual page and where this spread is, so I can always find it later, years later, after I haven't used the book for so long. My vehicle maintenance log for the cars that I owned at the time. Here, this is actually something that I used for designing a limited edition project. So I kind of drew out exactly what I kind of wanted it to look like, kind of worked out the different types of shapes I could use. Here's the dimensions of the bottles and the bowl and the coin and the candle and all the items that went in here, all their dimensions, so I knew how big I wanted the box's overall dimensions to be. All the things that I would have to design when I make this. So I'd have to make the bottle label design, print the label, fill it, wax dip it, hang the tag on it. Then for the bottle, for this other thing, it has to be designed, printed, filled, hang tag. Soap bowl needed to be designed, printed, filled, and shrink wrapped, and all these little things and things I needed to order. So when I start a project, I like to kind of hash it out. And then as I go, these are all my daily to-do. Here's actually a page where I was just coming up with other ideas for collections and other things I can build into the book. And, you know, some of it's like personal stuff. Here's some different fragrances I was working on for our Secret Stash project. I actually have some like stencils for doing lettering and stuff like that. It just helps everything look good. Here was that wholesale back end idea, and here's all the steps for actually installing it. And it was just a log for the install to see what I actually did, how it went, any unresolved issues here, things I still had to do. Here was a shaving kit idea that I came up with. You'll see my daily started to get a little more fancy. I started adding shadows on the boxes and filling the boxes out. And I really wanted to see how far I could push these. And then here's my September calendar from the 1st to the 30th. And, you know, I write in all the dates and things like this instead. Again, kind of just playing with this to see how I would want mine to go. Like, this was one of the more, this is when I started really getting into it. But again, this starts taking 30 minutes in your morning just to set it up. It's like, it's too much. So, you know, you got to find where it's good for you. Or you could actually you could make something like this, print it out, put it in a binder and not use a notebook. That's something that a lot of people do. And I just kind of like to take my time and do this. And again, this is actually, I believe this is a daily, yeah, this is a Friday, just one day. This is like time. This is actually my schedule. So you'll see all the things I want to do within that amount of time. You know, you see again, I start give myself a little note for the day, a little motivational quote. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And you see I start getting a little sloppier and I start changing it up. And this is my 4 boxes that were at the bottom. I kind of put them here and I stopped drawing so many lines. And then I have my schedule down here at the bottom. And this became a little more manageable. So when I had the time, I would do something a little more, watch my water intake here. Yeah, so this is pretty much how I like to set it up, site redesign ideas. And I can always come back to them. And I guess it's kind of, you know, this is where I kind of lost it. Here we were designing a new office. You can see my office now. We have the fireplace and the chairs and the desk and the bookshelf. And that's exactly how my office is laid out. We drew this out and then we built the office. These were actually all the pieces for the desk. So these are full sheets of plywood. And I did all the measurements here. to figure out exactly how many pieces of the desks we could get out of pieces of plywood. So yeah, this is pretty much, this was the bookshelf design for that room. This is when we were building this whole place. So yeah, this is how I like to organize my whole life. It seems to work for me when I do it. And if I stop doing it for one day, I could stop for months. So I try to keep it something that every time I feel like I'm unorganized, I just start a new one, get started fresh. And you know, this is a design for a sign that I'm working on, some drawings. And like I said, what's nice is that you can kind of open up to any page, build something into it, and then come back and put it in your index so you can always find what you're looking for. And that was always an issue with, I would always keep like a lot of different notebooks. I would keep like a stack of them, one for this hobby, one for this idea. So this allows me to put all my ideas in one notebook and not feel like I'm gonna ruin the notebook if I start writing about one thing and move on to another subject. So that's how I set up my bullet journals. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. And then I'll take you guys along when I actually design my new one that I just picked up today at Staples. We'll probably talk to you guys later.